Is the market going to crash? Or is it just cooling? Or is it on the way up? Listen, there's a secret to this. I've got a map. This will tell you what's going on. It's a map of my friend Lance Lambert. But first, we're going to have to talk about some things because the Fed just told us what they think is important when it comes down to the housing market. And there's a transcript for it. So let me show you. This is the part I'm going to be reading. Chair Powell says, it is specifically on housing. It says, on housing, the housing situation is a complicated one. And you can see that that's a place where rates are really having a significant effect. Rates, right? Rates. I mean, ultimately, the best thing we can do for the housing market is to bring inflation down so that we can bring rates down, which is what they've been trying to do, right? That rate, oh man, that rate's high right now. So that the housing market can continue to normalize. Great, then they understand this. There will still be a national housing shortage as there was before the pandemic. Okay, there will still be one, but the distortions that we see now with lock-in and things like that, low mortgages. In terms of banks, the banking system has been, solid, strong, well-capitalized lending. We've seen good performance by the banks. We had the turmoil earlier last year, but banks have been focusing on bringing up their liquidity, blah, 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 blah. So the banking system, seems to be in good shape. Well, I don't know about that, but he does say a lot of knows. Did you notice that? And I think the one thing you could take from that is the interest rate. Interest rates are the key factor. And you'll see when we get to show you all this, that does play one key effect. The other part to this, though, is something that you may not even be paying attention to. And it's specific to certain areas, which I will show you. But first, I want to remind you that you can go ahead and Google things right now. And if you Google something like, is there a housing crash going to happen? You're going to find things like this. Personal Finance says, Business Insider says, will the housing market crash? And it says, no, it won't. Why? Because of supply. There's not enough supply and the demand is still there. Well, hold on, just in parts, because I'm going to show you a map. I'm going to show you some numbers, and then you're going to get to see, well, where it's actually working and where it's not, where the possible crashes will happen and where it probably won't. So keep on paying attention to that. And then there's this article too. Another one, is the housing market going to crash? What the experts are saying. Guess what? They say the same thing. It's not going to crash. You can go ahead and read this one, the same thing. It says, no, there are still far more buyers than sellers, but that's not the case everywhere. And that's what I'm going to show you. Now, the last thing, which is a concern to me, is 9 out of 10 Americans agree May was a bad time to buy a home. Well, not just May, surprise. It's been like that. There's an affordability crisis and the rates aren't helping. Prices are going up, rates are going up. So of course, most Americans can't afford to buy a home. And I want to share something with you because if we look at the national average, this is the United States. We take a look at, this is Altos Research, Mike Simonson created this, and now it's Housing Wire. Housing Wire owns this. Take a look at the market action index right here, seller's market, slightly seller's market. And if we take a look at the details, those things that are highlighted in yellow, the median list price nationally has gone up a little bit since March, and now it's at $455. That's just the list price, not the sales price, okay? We go down to median days on market for the nation. That's taking in the markets that are having a hard time and those markets that are doing well, and the ones in the middle too. 49. That's how many days on market, and price decreased 36%. But guess what? 30, 35, 36, that's actually normal. It's normal for the time we're in. There are a lot of price decreases right now, and it's a normal thing. People freak out when they see that number, like, oh my gosh, 30, 1 out of every 3, almost 1 out of every 2, it's getting close to 50%. I'm like, listen, if you're at 50%, you're having problems. And that's why I want to show you the states that are having problems. The states that you might have to worry about in some areas specifically. And that's Florida. Look at this, Punta Gorda. I looked it up, and even though this little market action index says it's about even. When you look at the numbers over here, it's a little different. You look at median list price, and it's gone from 525 just from March 1st all the way down to 479 as of a few days ago. Now we take a look at median days on market. That's 84. Do you remember the nation's average? 49. That's a significant uptick. And then price decreases. Remember I said anywhere in the 30s is normal right now? This is 57%. You know why? There's a lot of inventory that's not being sold. The supply is outdemanding the demand by the buyers. Why? Because it's getting expensive out there. There are other factors I'm going to share with you. Pay attention. Now, we go to Austin. Austin tells a similar story here. Look at the market action index. It's about the same, right, as the previous one. And we take a look at median list price. Felt like it was going to fix. It's like, oh, we're going up. And no, not really. We're going to go down. 775 is actually the average. Median days on market, 49. We take a look at the nations, it's 49. But here's the thing. Look at the price decrease. 53%. You look at the nations, it's 36. Okay, there's an issue. Why? Well, the inventory. There's a lot more inventory there. See, you see Texas and Florida had a lot of home builders building up a lot of homes. And the challenge is more in Florida than anywhere else, which I'll show you. But first, I want to show you an area that's kicking butt. And that's East Hartford, Connecticut. Look at this. Look at let's go to the national average first. Market action index, that's pretty good, right? 40. But you take a look at East Hartford, this thing's almost off the chart. This is a hot market. And you take a look at median list price, yeah, it's going up. And you take a look at median days on market, 7 days. Do you understand that? 7 days? Things are flying. That's not a healthy market either. It's like the opposite, right? And take a look at price decreases, only 20%. That's it. Now you take a look at Thousand Oaks, which is my hometown. That's more than healthy. It's a seller's market again. And you take a look at median list price. Median list price has gone down a little bit. We have a high price point in California, of course. And then you got median days on market, not too bad, 21. Price decreases significantly low at 25%. So now you start understanding, got it. It is a tale of two cities. And we have to go back to that very first chart because that tells us a lot. And thank you, Lance, by the way, for putting this together. But if we take a look at this and understand it, let me zoom in here for you. This is active housing inventory for sale compared to pre-pandemic levels. So just the metro areas, the Realtor.com data. It's May 2019 and May 2024, just to show you the difference. And it's important to take a look at because the darker brown areas right over here, darker brown, that means that we're still under. Green means we're over the pre-pandemic area. It's like, hey, you know what? We've got more listings. Might be a problem. So you look at the green, darker the green on this map, could be a problem. The darker the brown, going from yellow to brown, that means there's a lot of opportunity there, and it's a seller's market. So we take a look at my area, Los Angeles, Long Beach, Anaheim, California, and then that little spot right there, Thousand Oaks, Ventura County. You got 53%, negative 53. Los Angeles is negative 45. Those are hot areas. And now you see why our days on market is low. And our price decreases are low because things are selling. But we go over here. And you see at the bottom, Miami's still good. Still actually normal. Pretty nice. But you go in the middle and you start having some situations here. And if we go to Punta Gorda, which was right there, which was the other section I showed you on Altos, The 5-year shift is 60%. Now, do you understand, if I go back to this, why the price decrease is so high? The list price is dropping and the days on market is 84. The story starts coming together and you start understanding what this all means. And then you look at the Northeast and man, they are on absolute fire. All these are dark brown. Look at Connecticut, where we were. They're negative. Let's just go to 80. Let's just round up. Negative, or round down, right? Negative 80%. The shortage. This is why their homes are flying off the market. 7 days median. That's nuts. But here's the problem. When we're looking at states like Florida, there's another challenge. Things are becoming more unaffordable there because there's an insurance crisis. And I know that you've been paying attention to it, especially if you're in Florida. So much so that I'm not going to read all this to you, but many insurance companies are leaving the state entirely or staying and revoking policies, limiting coverage and raising premiums by double digits. That becomes a problem because now if I had insurance or if I have insurance and I get something from this insurance company saying, hey, guess what? You still want it? We're going to double it. You're paying $700. Now you're going to be paying $1,400 or more. That's added on to what I'm paying my mortgage. And now what if I can't afford it anymore? Believe it or not, a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck. So now if I can't afford it, and I live in one of those areas that's dark green in those circles, and I have to sell, and now my home is worth less, I may not have equity. And now what happens to my home? I have to sell it, but I can't get rid of it. I can't afford it. I'm going to lose it. And then prices start going down more. So the situation is unclear, but you have to be paying attention to these areas. This is why I love this map. I want you to, let me go back to the map one more time. I want you to pay attention to this map. I want you to look at this. I want you to see where the dark green areas are. I want you to see where the dark brown areas are as well. Dark green, bad, bad. Dark brown, good, good. Okay? That's how you remember it. And it may change. Okay? Things may change. They change quickly. They may not crash. It may crash. Who knows? I want you to pay attention. Because if the rates start coming down, then that may even things out too. Interest rates, mortgage rates, right? And they're estimated to come down at the end of the year, but I don't know. You don't either. Pay attention to what's going on. Subscribe. Ask me any questions. I'd like to know what you think. I'd like to know if you think it's going to crash or you think it's not. Am I right? Am I wrong? Give me your opinion. But most of all, subscribe, watch again, share this, and have a great day.